Hello and welcome to another edition of Scott and Pop Talk Baseball. Uh crazy we're back in the get regular season in 3 days, and I was hoping we wouldn't have to talk about the standings because it was just 3 days of games. But my gosh, things over 3 days have really happened. It's just kind of, I whoops, wrong thing. Uh, I, First off, Orioles 1 game back, awesome.
They play three against the Dodgers starting tonight.
Yeah, and the Mets only took one from them, so the Dodgers starting to play pretty good ball. Well, the Mets, enough said. Twins 2.5. The only team with a winning record in the Central. We don't really need to bang the drum on that one too much. Rangers, Astros seem to be kind of moving. The Mariners have overtaken the Angels. Without Trout, Ohtani doesn't have much protection in the lineup. They're going to be taking a nosedive. So
the Angels are the same as the Yankees without their big guns.
Right.
Yeah, they don't have Judge. The Yankees don't have much. And now Danielson's hurt again.
So, or Donaldson, Josh Donaldson, yeah.
Donaldson got hurt again. So, I mean, they do have pitching, and like you talk about in a short series, if you have two good starters, you can make some damage. You can do some damage, and if Rodon comes around with Cole, they have two very good starters. So if the Yankees can make the playoff, but the problem is they might not make the playoffs.
Right. We'll get back. The way it looks, they're tied with the Red Sox right now.
Well, the amazing thing is that the two New York teams are 1 and 2 in payroll, and neither one of them are playing very well. It goes to show you it's not all about the money.
You can spend all the money in the world if you don't make good decisions with it. It doesn't really matter. But let's see right now. Wild card. Let's see. They're 530. Both of them are 532 win percentage. The Astros would get in ahead of them. So, they're out right now. I mean, and after the All-Star break, you really have to start looking at that. And the reason why I started so early in the year talking about it, because not much changed since beginning of the year with some of these bottom teams. The top teams switch around, but these teams that are trying to make a playoff spot, you can't let it slide too far too early. The Braves just chugging along.
They lost 2 out of 3 to the White Sox in Atlanta.
But then the Marlins ran into the Orioles this weekend, who are playing great. And then you have the rest of this division, which was supposed to be really good, excluding the Nationals, have been very bad. The Phillies, Mets, not good.
Well, the Phillies swept San Diego.
Yeah. And see, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's see. Brewers kind of 2 games over the Reds. I just read before we got on that the Reds are calling up another young prospect.
They've dropped about 6 in a row.
Joey Votto is going to be the old man of that team, the grandfather, not the father of these kids. I mean, it's going to be Votto and the boys.
I want to say one thing about the Brewers.
Yeah, go ahead.
The team they got, I don't think Craig Counsell gets enough credit.
Oh, you're 100% right.
Craig Counsell is one of the best managers in baseball. He takes a team that has decent pitching, decent bullpen, a good closer, and very little hitting, but good defense and wins.
Well, he's won manager of the year, 3 or 4 years ago, where they had that team that came out of nowhere, made a playoff, made some noise. The Cubs passed the Pirates. Pirates just they're 1 game from the Cardinals now. And the Cardinals,
they're going to be sellers.
Dodgers have passed not only Diamondbacks, but the Giants now have passed the Diamondbacks.
Well, the Diamondbacks came back to earth, just
Right,
like the Pirates.
and it was exciting, and it's still exciting. I mean, they're 2 games back, 553. Believe, yeah, that puts them in the wild card. Them and the Giants, actually. So that, again, they got a couple of good pitchers, not great. Their lineup is fun, fast team. Padres, they went in before the playoffs. I mean, before the All-Star game, I was like, well, we talked about it. We thought maybe not the division, but making a run for playoffs. It's coming out now. They're having inner turmoil on the team, which we kind of figured.
I watched two of the Phillies, and it was a debacle. I mean, they get people. They got the lowest average in the league for getting people in on scoring position with 2 outs.
Yeah.
They've also, the Saturday game against the Phillies, they had it won. The Phillies had 2 men on and 2 outs. Guy hits a fly ball to left field. Soto looked like a 9-year-old in Little League running across the field and decides, oh, it's over my head. Everybody scored, tied the game up. The next inning, they put Odor in it, the guy that played second for the Orioles last year, and they got rid of him because he couldn't hit. And they put him into third base for defense. Oh, gee whiz. First ball is hit to him, and he makes an error. He makes an error, that guy scores, and San Diego loses the game.
Right.
I'm going, this is why San Diego's not winning, because they're horrible. They're horrible in the field. They got 8 position players and a catcher. I mean, they got 7 position players and a catcher. And the 7 position players, I'm not sure are playing the right position. A lot of them are shortstops.
Right.
And they play outfield and every. I mean,
they even got. I mean, they moved Soto. I was talking to one of my friends that's a huge Soto fan. He's a Philly fan, but he's a huge Soto fan. And he's pointed out that he's playing in the wrong position. He's playing in left field. He's a right fielder, and he looks lost out there. Which you would think, you could play once you play one outfield position and you grew up playing baseball, you should be able to play all outfield positions. But at a pro level, with the way the ball comes off the bat, it's a different monster.
And move him around. I mean, he started out in right, and then he went to left. And I mean, and you're right. The guy, he sliced the ball, and he misjudged it and went over his head. He just barely missed it, but just barely misses a mile. I mean, it's the same thing.
Right. Yeah, that's
how they lost that game, and that was their season in a microcosm right there.
Right.
And they're in a division where if they started playing well, they have a good shot. It's not like the Mets. The Mets can play great the rest of the year. They can forget it.
Right.
Because they're in the same division with the Mets and the Marlins with the Braves, Marlins, and Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers are not as good as those 3 teams. They're good, but they're not as good as those 3 teams. I'm sorry, they're not. They don't have the pitching, for one thing.
Right. And I don't think their lineup is stacked. I mean, they still got Freddie Freeman in the middle, Max Muncy.
And Mookie.
Yeah, and Mookie. And I tell you, I might talk about this guy a little later. Will Smith does not get the credit at catcher for the Dodgers. And I don't know why and how. It might be because he's a Dodger. Freddie Freeman and Mookie, people know because they started on the East Coast. Max Muncy, he makes, he's done things in the majors that have brought attention to himself. Will Smith just plays the game. Other than having a name of a movie star, nobody really knows much about him. I have praised him. And I love catchers. I'm not going to hide it. But he's a quiet star in this game. Let's talk about that. We talked about what's going on. The official even though it's past halftime of the year's All-Star break. After that, the season within the season starts with the trades, which will probably be, and I think the trade deadline, somebody told me it was August 6th. So that will be heating up here in the next week or two. Already hearing rumors of Soto, of some of those Padres. I've read that a lot of the Mets that they didn't start winning quickly, that a lot of your favorite Mets might not be Mets for too much longer. Um, these teams that we thought were going to be world beaters at the beginning of the year are going to be sellers and changing some,
The
their
Cardinals.
face of their teams. I mean, I think the Cardinals, some of these guys, these teams are going to be just disrupted. But what I want to, we're going to talk about that when stuff starts happening. Nothing's really happening. I hate to talk about rumors because all that we're just assuming, and we know what assuming is. What I want to talk about today is, before we get into our team for the week, is what players and teams we think are going to be to watch, or we really are interested into the second half of this season. Luckily you get to watch the Orioles on a daily basis. The Nationals are not a team, so you probably rather watch the Orioles play now.
I switch over and look at check on the Nationals. That's my team, but I'm watching the Orioles now. I mean, because the Orioles, that's a fun team to watch. I mean,
I wish I could watch them on a daily basis. The two teams I wish I could watch on a daily basis are them and the Reds. But do you have any players right now that you kind of interested in? You take a peek, you want to see what they're doing on what team or anything like that right now, Dad?
To me, I'm interested to see, because Cincinnati's lost a few games. It might be that all these kids have been up for a while, and the pitchers in the National League might have caught up, because once you see somebody with all the tape and film, they can figure out where your weak spots are. So I want to see if the Reds can bounce back. First of all, they need some more pitching, but they who doesn't? But they need to. I want to see if these kids start slowing down, because like Dela Cruz and that, if they start slowing down, the Reds might be a year or so away. But I'm still interested in watching them. I'm not surprised that Arizona has dropped back a little bit, even though they're, to me, in a weaker division. The team that does not surprise me, and that's because the farm team is in Richmond, the AA farm team is the Giants. That organization figures out a way to win. With who? Has-beens and never wases, and they come out there and they win. It's mind-boggling.
Well, I'll throw out a name. They got a guy on their team that nobody talks about either that's quietly having a great – Wade Lamont.
Yes.
The first baseman, and plays some outfield and DHs. Nobody talks about him, and he is just quietly putting together a great season. So, I mean, Conforto is playing the way Conforto did when he started with the Mets with them as well. So they got a couple of guys, and they have a top pitcher. They don't have a pitching staff that's great, but they do have a good pitcher. And they have 3 pro major league high-end catchers. But, like
and they play in a ballpark, and they play in a ballpark where it's pitcher friendly.
Right. And like you're saying, they're doing a rest of smoke and mirrors. And again, another, great coaching staff. It's just that team, that organization figures it out. They're kind of like the Cardinals, like you want to say about it, but you can't speak on the Cardinals this year. I don't know what's happened with them.
Well, they're just having a down year. I mean, they're having a down year, and they thought that Wainwright might give them another year, but he's done. I mean, he looks like a little leaguer out there throwing the ball. He's
not the only one.
82-mile-an-hour fastballs don't cut it. So,
well, you saw that in the WBC with him. When I saw him in the WBC, I was like, well, this is
he's done.
Yeah, this is guys on this making this farewell.
But I think the Giants are doing. They're not surprising. Like I said, the Flying Squirrels are their AA team, and there's a lot of good young kids. They got a pretty good. They got a pretty decent team over there, as far not wins and losses so much, but they got a lot of talent, and they got a couple of young pitchers over there that might be up in the majors in a couple of years. So I mean, the Giants just have one of those organizations, they make it work. And it
Right.
might be to their benefit that they didn't spend all that money on the players that they tried to sign and
Yeah.
didn't.
Well, what it sounds like is they're saving up to make a run at Shohei.
Yeah. They're
And
going to be one of the teams to make a run at him in free agency. And there again, I want to see the young Reds players. I'm loving watching all these young kids playing for Baltimore. Um, and there's a who was the other guy I was thinking? Oh, I know. I want to see just how long Cody Bellinger can keep this up in Chicago, because he looks like he. I saw him play, switching back around again, being able to see a couple of games on MLB. I saw the Cubs the other day, and he looks like he did the year he won the Most Valuable Player with the Dodgers. I mean, this guy, he's got his eye back. I mean, everything's in time.
Yeah, it sometimes it's just a change of a location, change of mailing address, and it's a resurgence. The opposite is a player that I want to watch is Soto. An opposite happened, and it looks like he's started playing at the plate better before the All-Star game. I just hope that he doesn't take his fielding to the plate with him.
Harper's starting to hit.
And Harper, I want to see if Harper, what do they want him to play first? See if what happens there. This team, it's dynamic. The players, like I said, Will Smith is not. Nobody really knows of him. But another player that's having a good season on a bad team is, and a guy that everybody's been waiting on, is Luis Robert. He was at the home run derby, big whoop. But
that's the White Sox, right?
White Sox.
Yeah, I don't see that much.
Right, but he's quietly putting together a hell of a line this year. Let's see, he's got.
Well, here again, you got to wonder if any of these guys are going to be traded.
Right, 27 home runs, 56 RBI on a team that doesn't score a lot of runs. He has a lot of strikeouts, 109, but he's batting 276. He's got an OPS of 907. I think I'm happy for a guy that has had a lot of injuries. He got another one that strained his calf at the All-Star Home Run Derby. Couldn't play in the game. Decided not to play because of the injury. I just think this guy, I'm happy for him. Guys that really deserve it. And I think he's putting in the work. Like I said, Wade Lamont, another guy. I like to, point these guys out that just doesn't. And another guy that you get to watch on a daily basis that I think is started to turn it on before the All-Star break, especially against the Yankees, is Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson is having right now. He seems like he's in a good spot.
He made a play at shortstop the other day that was unbelievable.
Right, and he is a young man. What is his age right now? Is he 20? 22. Yeah.
Well, they got him. They got the catcher. They got a lot of young kids.
Well, here's an interesting stat for Adley Rutschman. He's the only catcher that doesn't have a pass ball this year, as of this moment. Saw that stat last night. That's one for you. Pitchers. Pitchers I'm interested in because, like Marcus Stroman, is he going to be a Cub much longer? Blake Snell, is he going to be a Padre for much longer? Logan Webb is the pitcher for the Giants I was thinking of. His name keeps leaving me. But, Arizona we're talking about, they had Zach Gallen, a great pitcher. I just think there is some great talent. Pitching is a
Well, Giolito maybe. Yeah, he might move.
Oh yeah, Giolito. There's going to be some guys that definitely change. I tell you what, Scherzer or Verlander, if they give the okay, they probably won't be a Met much longer. The Mets might have to eat their salary for a team to take them, but Um, I don't, but there's going to be some definite moves. It always
Well,
is.
my biggest question, and it'd be easier to talk about this in a week or two, is whether the Angels are going to trade Shohei. Because if they don't have a
They
chance,
have to. They have to.
I don't see how they could not. I mean,
Right.
you got to get something for. I mean, they were talking about it on the game last night when they were on the ESPN game. They were playing Houston, and oh, by the way, he looks like he might be a little bit out of gas too on the mound.
Might be.
I mean, he's just playing every day, hitting every day, and pitching every fourth or fifth day. I think
the plan was for him to pitch every 6 days to give him an extra day of rest.
Right.
I don't think that's worked out because they got in the hunt.
But they had a discussion last night, and one of the guys said, well, you can't trade. They can't trade him because if they trade him, a lot of times you trade these guys, and the guys you get are supposed to be, decent players, and then they don't pan out. You still don't get anything for them. He said if you let him walk, the owner's going to have to live with that the rest of his life. And I'm sitting there thinking, it ain't going to bother the owner. The guy's a billionaire.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing is you got to get something for him.
Unless you're going to re-sign him. If you're going to re-sign him, then just go ahead and re-sign him. Go ahead and sign him.
If you're going to re-sign him, don't wait till the end of the year. Offer him a $650 million contract tomorrow.
Right.
And if he doesn't sign it, trade him.
Right. That is. I mean, that's what happened with Soto. I mean,
the Nationals offered him a contract. He said, "I really don't want to play here because I want to win." So now he's in San Diego. Boy, he's really winning.
Yeah.
Same thing. Harper. Oh, I'm leaving Washington. That the $300 million they're giving me, I'm going to get the $300 million from Philadelphia. The next year, the Nationals won the World Series. Nah.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, baseball has a lot to do because of the long season. Is chemistry. You can put an all-star team together in the locker room, but if the team doesn't have chemistry, have issues, all it takes is one player to be a cancer, and takes a lot to overcome that. The Giants went through that with the Bonds years. Bonds is a great player. They overcame some of that, but just those problems. My team, the one team that I kind of want to watch and is making some moves, and I've mentioned it, is the Mariners. I think they're playing better ball. That Julio Rodriguez is a guy that I'm looking at too. Kelenic, they have some good pitching. It's just a team that's I think they might sneak into backdoor your way back into the playoffs a little bit, or at least make a run at it. I don't want to name the teams that are up there to watch or anything that, you can't go the Astros. They're going to make a run.
Well, they always the Astros start off slow every year. In the second half, they go nuts. They do have some injuries on their pitching staff, so that we'll see.
Right. But I mean, this is interesting, fun to talk about. Hopefully, here in the next weeks, we'll have something to talk about with the trades. But today, we've been teasing this team for weeks. One of the great franchises of Major League Baseball, jokingly, the Colorado Rockies, the home of the Humidor. Yeah, what you got for us with the Rockies today?
Well, the Rockies were an expansion team, and they started out in 1993. They played in Mile High Stadium for the first two seasons, and then moved to Coors Field in 1995. The minor league team that was in Denver was the Bears, and then called the Zephyrs. Okay, yes, sir. I'm a Denver Zephyr. I can hardly say it.
Well, I mean, that's a balloon. The ball flies.
Yeah. And, it's just the thing about the 1990s. The one thing about the Denver area is they have some of the best fans in the world. The Denver Broncos sign out every game. They sell out every game.
They were bad last year.
Denver won the NBA title this year. They sell out every. I mean, their hockey team sells out at the Avalanche. They sell out every game. In 1993, the Denver
Avalanche was going to move one year, and they fought to keep them. They showed up at the
right
courthouse to make sure.
Exactly. And they set the all-time attendance record their first season. They had an attendance of 4,483,350, and that stands to this day. And 5 times since they've been established, they've come close to 4 million after that. So they draw the fans. They did get to the 2007 World Series, and they did get swept by the Red Sox the year the Red Sox finally broke the streak. But that was, it was a miracle that they got in there.
Well, Dad, look at this stadium. Why would you not go to this field? Look at how beautiful that is.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I would love. That's just awesome.
Well, the other thing I've heard about that stadium too is they've got great food, and that's a big part of it.
Right, and it's inexpensive from what I understand too. So great, awesome. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So anyway, in 2018, they played in the first season. They played in 4 cities in 5 days against 4 different teams in the playoffs. And that was the first time that had happened since the 1922 Philadelphia Phillies.
Is that because they tied, had to play a playoff game?
They had a tie, and I mean, it was crazy. All right, then
I remember that, yeah.
They're the only team. There's only 3 teams that have never won a division since they went to this division setup. It's the Colorado Rockies, the Miami Marlins, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Those are the 3 teams that have not won their division. You mentioned the humidifier. All their pitchers always complained they couldn't throw breaking balls because of the altitude, and there was no humidity. It's up in the mountains, it's no humidity. Higher altitude, you have less humidity. So their curveball wouldn't break. So they put all the balls in humidifiers in the clubhouses, and they try to get so they can have more breaking balls, and they still have a problem with that. That's why hitting is so prevalent up there. First of all, the air's lighter, the ball flies farther, and then you can't throw breaking pitches. Now, they did have some players that played for them, either in the beginning or at the tail end of their career, that were really well known, like Vinny Castilla. He played for him. Dante Bichette played for him for a while. Old man Andres Galarraga, he played for about 4 or 5 teams, and Todd Helton. And then now they've got some good players. Charlie.
Larry Walker played there as well.
Larry Walker, Charlie Blackmon. Arenado played third base for him. I mean, they've had some. Who was Todd Helton was the shortstop, and they came close to winning that division a few times.
Story was the shortstop.
Yeah, Troy. Yeah,
played first.
Yeah. But the problem that Denver had is the problem everybody else, San Diego and everybody else. They're in the same division with the Dodgers and the Giants. And the Dodgers and the Giants have dominated that division for years. Even when you get close, you still have to beat one of those 2 teams.
Well, let me ask you something. Let me interrupt. How do you? They've tried several different ways. How do you build a Rockies team? Do you build it and just give up and just get bombers and try to outscore teams, or do you build a baseball team with good pitching, good fielding, and have a balance in the hitting? It's tough because you got to play half your season away.
Yeah, you play half your season away. So if you have just bombers that just hit the long ball, ask the Yankees and the Mets how that's working.
Well, in the West, you're in a division where the fields are not conducive. The Dodgers, San Francisco, Padres, those fields are not built like that.
I would build.
So
I would build a team. I would try to build on an all around team, and just let the chips fall where they may, and do the best I could.
yeah, because
If
they
I was their
probably
manager,
right now it looks like they're going to just. I don't know what they're doing right now. It's almost miserable to watch them. They're like the Oakland. You don't know what they're doing. Oakland. You don't know what. When I watch I've said in the Nationals. When I watch other teams that are having really bad losing, I can tell what direction they're moving in. I can see a core. With Colorado, I don't see a core. I see a mixer. You let Nolan Arenado. Well, Nolan Arenado leaves because he's had issues with that team over years. Because they don't want to spend money, and B, they don't have a clear direction. And then you turn around and sign Bryant. You have an older catcher. You have some older guys in positions. They try to get ground ball pitchers. It just seems like where that field is, it just is not very conducive for baseball. But they have, like you said, great attendance. So great. Even they're as bad as they are, they're like Nationals. They have people to come out and watch them no matter what.
and the other thing about that area is that a lot of the players that go out there, no matter what sport they're in, professional players, a lot of them after they retire, even if they're on another team, they'll move back to Denver because they like the area.
Well, they won't move into Denver. They'll move into a
right.
suburb.
They won't. No, well, very few of them want to go into the city. It's just like Kansas City.
Right.
A lot of they love Kansas City. They like the suburbs and that because of the schools and hospitals and all that kind of stuff. But they don't want to live in the middle of the city. I mean, that's
right. Yeah, Denver and Boulder is a couple of cities that are expensive, and even if you make millions of dollars,
college town too.
Yeah, well, Denver is, from my understanding, kind of expensive, and you want to live, even with millions of dollars, you want those millions to last. Yeah, because I was looking, they're another team that's had some tremendous ball players, maybe not Hall of Famers, but Hall of very good All-Stars.
I think Arenado, when he hangs him up, he's going to have a real shot at being a Hall of Famer.
Oh, I think, yeah. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, you had Larry Walker, Hall of Famer. Todd Helting, I don't think he's in the Hall yet. They retired his number. He's not in the Hall. But, I mean, 3-time Gold Glove Award, 4-time Silver Slugger, 5-time All-Star, Hank Aaron Award, batting champion, RBI.
And a lot of the players that play in Denver are penalized by the Hall of Fame committee because they played in Denver and they think it skews their batting averages.
Right. Well, you got Charlie Blackmon too. I don't think he has the numbers to get in, but I'm sitting here. I looked at the 40-man roster. And you look at it, you just know. You look at their pitching staff. Kyle Freeland, he's on the IL. That's about the only name that really jumps out at me. Hermaine Marquez, another one, he's out for the season. So even the guys that have any type of name to them out for the season, I think a lot of people are on the IL. But I mean, this team is just, I mean, they just no. Well, you're okay there. Life happens. I have noises all the time.
I'm gonna let Susie get it.
All right, Ryan McMahon. I just don't see much on this roster, and it's Jerkson Profar. That'll tell you right there. Yeah, and even Blackmon right now is on the IL. But yeah, this team has a long ways to go. Good good luck for the general manager and the owner on what direction they're going. Like I said, as a as two guys that have watched baseball a long time, and just that they're playing behind the eight ball, playing in that area, that stadium, that where it's at. The ball just jumps out of that stadium. They could build a fence 500 feet away, and it's still people will be able to hit it out. Uh, I don't know how to. If it was me, I would try to get. Again, I would build it like a baseball team. Let the chips fall where they may, like you said. You get a couple of good pitchers, good relievers. Try to preach, keep the ball down, 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 in a way.
Yeah, and I mean, you gotta talk to your pitching staff and tell them they can't get down on themselves. It's
Right.
just,
Yeah, you're gonna have. Hey, you come here. You might have had a 3.4 ERA. You're gonna have a 5 ERA here. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Or your relievers might have an 8.9 ERA, but because they only pitch one inning, and they might give up a run or two. You like you said, you can't really look at that because you got to score runs. They have to score runs, and on the flip side, they have to play good defense. You can't give away outs, and that's what they do. When I watch games, they give away outs, and they don't get the balls and just make errors. So, anything else on the Rockies, Dad?
Nope. Me and your stepmom are going to head to the pool when this is done.
Yeah, I
dip our toes in the cool water.
So one thing before we leave, I do want to speak on the All-Star game. One thing that did bother me, I heard it was a good game. I missed it. I just watched some highlights. I work second shift, so I didn't get to see it. We were busy that night. But they need to go back to old school uniforms, representing their teams.
Yeah, it looked like they were wearing pajamas.
Yeah, it looked like
softball team.
Softball. I'm getting a lot of that. I shared a thing on my Facebook page about playing, go back to the old unis, and I've got more likes and hits on that thing. I don't know who likes this. I don't know what it's for.
No, it didn't help with the ratings because the ratings were the worst ever.
Well, I mean, like I said, this is okay, I got the All-Star hat. If you want to sell, I know I got the other one too I've been wearing, but they wore this. Look at this. This is beautiful. Why? I hold that up to the other one. Which one? I love this, but you're still going to sell merchandise. I don't get it. They need whoever thought of in the marketing department of MLB, they need to fire them. Maybe take them out back, give them some lashes while they're at it. It was bad. It's bad. I don't know why in the home run derby they wear their uniform, but in the All-Star game they don't. It doesn't make sense. That was just something I really ate at me this week in baseball for whatever reason. Great start to the second half of the season, though, Dad. This weekend was surprising. A lot of extra inning games yesterday, even with the rain delays. You're going to have more and more of that. They're running out of time. So if your team is playing and it's raining, they'll do a 3 or 4 hour wait to get games in.
Oh yeah, they got to.
They have to. So be looking forward to that. I know somebody that sat in Philly for 3 hours before they left and went home. So, that's the way this part of the year is. So any final thoughts, Dad, before we take off and you go to the pool and enjoy your day?
Well, I'm just really curious in the next couple of weeks about who's going to be the buyers and who's going to be the sellers, because there's going to be some surprises.
Yeah, the season within the season. It's going to be interesting and fun to watch, and maybe a little, even if your favorite player on your team gets traded. And this is the part that I hate. I have I think most people know me from my card channel, card stuff. I was a huge DeGrom and Syndergaard fan, and now and Conforto. I love Conforto. Uh, but if the same thing happens with Pete Alonso, it'll be hot. But anyway, until next time, like, share, and enjoy these summer days, but be careful out there. It is hot, humid. We're breaking records every day. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Until next time, see ya.